hopefully the beginning of some real energy and enthusiasm and attention to this subject that probably most of you don't even know is in the air, and don't even know that it is really a vital subject. I won't, say anything about it because that's what Rich's talk will be all about. But we're really trying to start something here. Very strangely, we're not talking about this subject.
I do think it's a tremendous challenge that we face. We talk about sustainability, and generally when we talk about sustainability, we're talking about environmental sustainability. But there's really two types of sustainability. There's environmental sustainability, because obviously you cannot have life without a biosphere to hold that life, to sustain that life. But also we need economic sustainability. People, you can have an earth that's functioning fine, but if there's no provision for life, then you'll have the earth which will be sustained, but the human beings won't be sustained. So, and these things have overlaps and interrelationships. But I think along with climate change, economic sustainability is going to be, the two key challenges that human beings face, in the next 50 to 100 years.
I'm Suzanne Taylor, and A World Without Work is a title that we've given to a series of programs that we've done with Richard Gilbert, who happens to be a friend of mine, about a really important topic that we aren't talking about. It's part of a series we're calling Sue Speaks, where Sue stands for Searching for Unity in Everything. And this topic actually will create a world, a much more cooperative world as we deal with it, because we have to deal with the fact that there aren't going to be enough jobs no matter what we do. We've called it World Without Work, which we rather like because of the WWW, but it's really a world without jobs. And as we look at this looming issue, well, we all have to look together for what kind of solution we'll make. Unity in everything will be front and center as what we need to be paying attention to. I want to start with a little excerpt from a salon we did with Richard Gilbert, where he's talking about the conditions that have caused this problem.
Automation, advances in new digital technology like robotics and artificial intelligence and 3D printing are dramatically reducing the demand for human labor. Think about all the jobs that have been displaced by automation just in recent years. We have ATM machines have displaced bank tellers. We have self-service checkout lines that have displaced cashiers. We have robots that are now working at Amazon. Amazon purchased Kiva for $775 million and are having thousands of robots fulfilling orders. Lowe's is using robotics as customer service agents. Artificial intelligence is used in translation activities, displacing translation people. You can go on and on and on about the types of jobs that are being reduced and the demand for jobs that are being reduced by these highly intelligent digital technologies. As one example of this, Facebook has a market capitalization of $193 billion, making it one of the most valued companies in the world today. And it achieves that market capitalization with a full-time labor supply of 6,000 people. In contrast, the biggest corporation in the industrial age was General Motors, and they achieved a market cap similar to Facebook, but it took them 600,000 employees. And these processes are going on, not just at Facebook, but we can say the same thing at Google. We could say the same thing at Amazon. And so the demand for labor, it's undeniable, is going to be reduced by these accelerating trends in technological development.
There have been major shifts in history where we move from one age to another, and the job market has changed significantly. If you go back, for instance, to the move from the hunter-gatherers to the agrarian age, you have one major change for everything. And then when we move from the agrarian age to the industrial age, well, just think about that. Think about the fact that in the agrarian age, people were doing hard labor. They were pushing the plows and working with the animals. And then machines took over. Wow, a whole different job requirement for what was going on with machines. However, human beings recover. The job market recovers. They just have to be retrained. There are new jobs to replace the old jobs. So I want you to listen to another Salon excerpt of Richard Gilbert, giving you a little historical development of what happened when we moved from the agrarian age to the industrial age, and why it's not going to be the same as it was before, where jobs just turn into different kinds of jobs. Listen to Rich tell you about this.
Human beings ultimately recovered because even though the machines took away all the jobs that they used to do, like plowing and hauling and harvesting, all those things were wiped out by machines. Human beings had a talent or a set of talents that still enabled them to compete with these and win relative to these machines. And those talents were their head and their heart and their ability to interact with each other. Intelligence, caring, and compassion, and social interaction. We beat the machines every time, and these became the jobs that we survived on. We ceded jobs that relied on power and speed to the machines, but we had this area of life that we could still win. But what's happening now? The new era of machines is also intelligent, becoming increasingly intelligent by the day. Think of the artificial agent in your cell phone right now. Think of how primitive it was 5 years ago and how sophisticated its processing of natural languages today. And extrapolate exponentially that progression in 10 years. And that cell phone, that virtual agent, is going to be incredibly intelligent and will be able to do so many things. And so the domain where human beings retain a cost-effective advantage over these increasingly intelligent machines is dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. There's just no reasonable basis to assume that human beings are going to be able to retain a cost-effective advantage over these increasingly intelligent and capable machines, to re-employ millions and millions of people who are being displaced right now.
And here's Richard Gilbert at another salon giving a very graphic example of just what he's talking about. In case you missed the point or in case you doubt the point, listen to him talk about just what's going on in our world today, whereby there will not be enough jobs.
Demand for, let's say, a sink increases by 10,000 units. Now, the Keynesians would say you have to hire more people to meet that demand. But you don't have to hire more people if the demand could be met by machine labor. Let's say 10,000 people want to buy a new sink, but the sink is ordered online, manufactured by a 3D printer, picked up from the warehouse by a robot, put onto a conveyor belt where it is rolled into a self-driving truck, or possibly in the near future delivered by an unmanned drone. All parts of the ordering, production, fulfillment, and distribution chain never touching a human hand.
Now we're going to take you to a talk that Richard Gilbert gave at Loyola Marymount University, where he is a professor of psychology. And his talk was about the solution to the problem that he is advocating. It's called the Basic Income Guarantee, or the BIG for short. And I'll tell you what it is, and then we'll let Richard Gilbert make his case for why he thinks this could solve the problem. So, what this is a guaranteed income for every individual in the society. It starts at age 26. Some of the aspects are negotiable. They could be argued about or decided about. But at any rate, let's say it's all the adults at a certain age in a society, most likely a nation, but it could be a smaller unit of a society. It could be a state. It could be California. Everybody who's eligible, who's of that age, gets this money. And I want to give you the different aspects of what this involves. All right. The money is in cash. It goes into people's bank accounts, just like your Social Security payment every month. It goes right into your bank account. Everyone gets it. You don't have to qualify for it. The very rich people get it. The very poor people get it. You can do whatever you want with it. It's tax-free. You can give it away. You can spend it. You can join with other people in households whereby each one gets that money. And you can earn more money. That's what you get, no matter what. But after that, you can earn as much. Capitalism is intact. You can earn as much money after that as you can earn, and that money will be taxable, be regular income to you. So, that said, I'm going to back out now, and we're going to let Richard Gilbert make his case for this, what he considers to be the best solution to this problem. Now, there are other things that have been proposed, and I hope that as we work with this material, that we will initiate dialogue and conversation, and that there can be arguments. We can see what other solutions might be in this forum that we hopefully will be creating to deal with this really vital issue.
Is a basic income affordable? If we set it at $52,000 a person, it would bankrupt the entire country. This is the 2014 Federal Poverty Guidelines. If the size of the family is one person, poverty is set at $11,670 or below. So if you give a subsistence guarantee to every adult of $11,671, by definition, literally by definition, you eradicate poverty in the United States. That would cost $2.33 trillion a year. Is that attainable? There are many people who have developed budgets in order to come to that magic number to eradicate poverty. They're all debated. I'm not going to go into all of them now, but essentially, you eliminate all individual and corporate income transfers in existence with the exception of health care and disability insurance. No more food stamps, no more housing vouchers, no more special services, no more agricultural subsidies. That would save $1 billion. You have to get an equal amount through tax reform, eliminating deductions, maybe mortgage deductions, maybe a transaction tax on stocks, and you can get the other half. It would be a battle royale because it would pit very powerful vested interests. But mathematically, it's doable. The second issue is a philosophical one. Is subsistence a right? There are many people who object to this by saying, no, it's just a handout. You're just giving people a handout. They have to earn this money. And if we're giving them a handout, we're going to monitor them. Whereas other people, and I would put myself in this camp, that say that There's no such thing as a right to life unless it's accompanied by provision for that life. We don't tell people to earn the air they breathe. It's part of subsistence. Nor should we ask them to earn shelter, clothing, minimal food, and water. That should be a right. Above that right, we keep all the incentives of capitalism. This is not socialism. This is not communism. This is not a redistribution of income. I'm impressed with the wealth that capitalism has created. I know that people need incentives. I'm not talking about redistribution plans. I'm talking about that we have a right to survive in a very basic way. And above that, once we as a society guarantee that right, good luck to you. Exercise your talents, differentiate yourself, but everyone's going to survive. Some proponents of a basic income guarantee have said that a compromise position between having subsistence be an absolute right accruing to existence in life and nothing more, and the idea that everything is a responsibility that we get in this life. Their middle ground position is that the basic income guarantee comes with one requirement, a participation requirement. And all it says is that you have to show that you've done something constructive for the other people in society. It could mean taking care of an elder person, taking care of children, volunteering at a school. There are so many things that we can do. It would be very, very easy to have that participation, and it would change the dynamics of how we interact with each other. And last but not least, the most psychological of all, people have alleged that if you get a basic income guarantee, it would destroy the motivation to work. How many people, if you got $11,671 a year for the rest of your life, indexed to inflation, would stop working? It would be a very, very modest life. Even if you got together with, if you were married or had a significant other or a good friend or a family member, let's say you band together in 2 or 3, 4 people, it's still a very, very modest life. Of course, there'll be some people who would band together and not work, but you can't judge a system by its exceptions. You have to judge it by its overall impact. If we were to judge it by exceptions, we'd say we have to dismantle capitalism because there's homeless people. Work gives identity. Work gives purpose. Work gives meaning. Work gives us a way to participate in the society. These are the issues of affordability, right versus responsibility, and the relationship between the income guarantee and the motivation to work that the success of this will hinge upon. I should mention that Switzerland is actually the first country putting a referendum forward for a basic income guarantee. Now, in typical Swiss style, it's $33,000. We should all move. Now, what about, in conclusion, the prospects for a basic income guarantee in the United States of America? Right now, as I said, we live in a very polarized society. Very, very difficult for the political process to do anything. That this is not a recession, that economic stagnation and disillusionment, as this goes on and on and on, is going to grow. And when it does, I would suspect that there'll be social rebellion. Because we have the same constituency that occurred in the last example of successful social rebellion, which was to stop the draft in the Vietnam War. The educated classes, if they join the poor and the working class, then you have the traditional constituency that has had sufficient power. Students and workers unite and fight. That could do something We saw a glimmer of this with Occupy. It felt something. It felt the rage that young people feel. It felt all the things without really being able to talk about them that we've talked about today. But it didn't have a coalescing issue. But if that constituency gets lit up again and you attach it to an issue like the basic income guarantee, you have a chance at a grand bargain. Through the basic income guarantee, it would allow the left and the right to support it and both declare victory. Because the left could say, we've eradicated poverty in the United States. And the right could say, we've dismantled the welfare state and significantly shrunk the size of government. These are the cherished goals of the left and the right, and they can both declare victory through the same legislation. And that's what the elites will tell them to do. We have a chance. Right now, it may be a bit of tilting at windmills, but we're going to start and advocate for this. But if, as I suspect, the disillusionment grows because of the labor problems that I've talked about, you may find this progression unfolding. Thank you.